Apple and Samsung are creating phones capable of taking videos, rivaling budget and even higher end cameras in good lighting. However, they have some serious limitations that won't let you capture the look of a cinematic video. Namely, the lenses are not interchangeable. Also, the colors are baked into the video. Today, I will show you how to overcome these limitations and make your video look like the ones you are watching. Here I use an anamorphic lens and UV filter. I will also show you how to use ND filters to get that dreamy look you have always been looking for, and how to use Apple Lock and Samsung Manual Control to get the colors right. I will use Freewell Sherpa and Genius Rig accessories for most of the video. This video is not sponsored though. My goal is to teach you how to get the 21:9 cinematic video on a budget. I'll link all the tools that I use in the description. The first thing you need is a cage, or in this case a case, to attach the lens and filters to it. I'm using a Freewell Sherpa case for Galaxy S24 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max. The case itself is nice and sturdy. It's a bit heavy due to the metal cage on the camera side for the filters and lenses, but I used it for a week on my phone and got used to the weight. After attaching the case, you can then attach the anamorphic lens on top of that to get a cinematic look. Anamorphic lenses compress images horizontally to capture an artificially widened field of view. The result is a certain cinematic look with a 21:9 aspect ratio that you are used to in the theaters. To get the ratio right, you have to de-squeeze the video. In the Galaxy S24 Ultra, it is as simple as going to the manual or pro video mode and turning on the anamorphic 133 de-squeeze in the setting. In iPhone, there is no such an option for the native camera app. But anyway, the native camera app has some serious limitations, and I recommend using the Blackmagic camera app instead, which is free. You can go to the setting and do the same to de-squeeze your video to get the right aspect ratio while shooting a video. You can easily do the same thing in the post too. For example, in Adobe Premiere, you can simply interpret your video to be 1.33 when importing it. Here you can see what the video looks like on the iPhone 16 Pro Max with the anamorphic lens compared to the video I took with Galaxy S24 Ultra. The lens I'm using is the Cine Blue. The Cine video lens also has a UV filter installed on it, which helps filter out the ultraviolet part of the sunlight, and it also creates rather nice horizontal blue lines instead of a typical flare you see on the camera. Here, you can see the horizontal flare on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the iPhone 16 Pro Max under the sun. You can get the same effect if you use the camera indoors too, and the light reflecting on the lens makes a nice horizontal blue flare. I believe there is also a gold color one you can get from Freewell, but I didn't test it myself and I'm curious about how that would look like. As I mentioned, you want full control over the shutter speed, white balance, and ISO to get the best out of your phone. Also, on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, you want to shoot in log. Otherwise, the colors will be baked on the footage and you won't be able to color grade it and give it the look you want. Log footage looks very flat because, roughly speaking, all shades of gray are getting the same attention. Therefore, you won't get the contrasty look associated with mobile phones. After you shoot your video in log, you have to color grade it, but it's simpler than you think. You can simply use a lookup table or LUT as they call it. You can even do so in the Blackmagic app, but I prefer applying them in Premiere Pro and playing around with the parameters. I'll put a comprehensive YouTube video of how to shoot in log in the description below from another creator. You can also shoot in log even if you don't want to use the Blackmagic app. Unfortunately, unlike phones like iPhone, Xiaomi, and Vivo, Galaxy still does not support log. But you can still shoot in manual mode to have better control over the colors. For example, since I'm shooting autumn scene, I made the white balance look a bit warmer, which fits very well into the scene. But these colors are code-to-code baked into the footage, and you won't be able to freely color grade it later. Galaxy S24 Ultra colors are not bad or wrong by any means, and to an extent, you can still color grade it in post. However, as an example, if you look at the colors here on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, I was able to give it a more cinematic look using a LUT that creates an RE look, which is an expensive cinema camera, which is different than the contrasty look on a smartphone. One problem you may face using the anamorphic lens is the stabilization. Even though the stabilization is not bad, I would not use it while moving. To counter that, I often use a cage with handles. I'm using a Genius Rig here. You can easily put your iPhone 16 Pro Max or Galaxy S24 Ultra inside the cage and put the handles on the left and the right sides. The handles are rotatable. Also, You can use one of them as a tripod, as you can see here for the cage, and the other one as a monopod to create creative shots. If you look at movies, often the camera is not moving and the cameraman is not walking around. Instead, it is more common to do simple panning, rolling, and tilting to get the desired shot. Here, I'm using a combination of movements to get a nice shot of my subject without the need to move around, and the handles on the cage give me more freedom to do these tasks. If you don't want to use anamorphic lenses, ND filters are another way to get a cinematic look. ND filters are sunglasses for your lens. Before explaining why you need them, you need to know two basic concepts: shutter speed and ISO. Understanding shutter speed, ISO, and ND filters is crucial to get that cinematic look. Shutter speed determines how your camera's sensor is exposed to light for each frame. Following the 180 degrees rule ensures natural motion blur. So if you are shooting at 30 frames per second, your shutter speed should be set to 1/60 of a second. Deviating from this can make your footage look jittery or unnaturally sharp. Here you can see how the footage can look with and without the proper shutter speed. On the right side, I'm using a high shutter speed, which makes the water look unnatural, while on the left side, I'm using an ND filter and set the shutter speed to 1/60, which makes the scene look much more natural and pleasant. Here you can see that the phone is putting 1 to 500 as a shutter speed, which is too high to get a natural motion. After I put the ND filters on the camera, the shutter speed changes to 190 and I simply drag it to 160, which is double of 30 frames per second. ISO, on the other hand, controls the camera's sensitivity to light. Lower ISO values like 100 or 200 result in a cleaner images, but require good lighting, while higher ISO can handle darker environments but might introduce noise. We have to lock the ISO and shutter speed when shooting. Otherwise, your video will have visible light shifts, which are distracting and the opposite of a cinematic look. ND filters are essential for maintaining proper exposure, which means how bright your scene is. These filters reduce the light entering the lens, acting like sunglasses for your camera. You can choose between fixed ND filters, which provide a specific level of light reduction, and variable ND filters, which allow you to adjust the light reduction for more flexibility. Here on the Galaxy S24 Ultra, I'm attaching Freewell magnetic ND filters and keep the scene's colors closer to reality. The con of using a fixed ND filter is that you have to change it whenever you are in a brighter or darker situation. That is why variable ND filters are so popular. On iPhone 16 Pro Max, I'm using a variable ND filter. Instead of changing my ND filter, I can simply rotate the ring in front to go from 1 to 5 stops and get my desired outcome. I think variable ND filters make more sense for most people, but I often use the fixed ones on my camera, as you can see here on my camera, which is FX30 on Sony. Here you can see what the footage looks like with the variable ND filters on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I took this video using ProRes log and color graded it later in Adobe in bright sunlight. I would be bold enough to say that in a situation with enough light and proper color grading, it is getting increasingly difficult to differentiate between a camera and a phone. You can also see the Galaxy S24 Ultra footage next to it with a fixed ND filter. I actually use the same setting in multiple videos already, and when I'm outside and do the in the live videos, I often shoot it with Galaxy S24 Ultra and an ND filter, and I dare to say the footage blend in very well together with other footage I take with FX30 cinema camera. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more tips and tricks for using your phone to get the most out of the camera, watch this video next. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.